Hello, our friends. Thank you for joining us, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
And the dogs are saying hi too in the background. So please do subscribe both channels, Evolutionary Energy Arts and also on EEARTS as well. This is going to be just a quick info update on some things that we've been kind of keeping an eye on. North Korea launches another missile towards South Korean waters this time. So North Korea launched another ballistic missile towards its eastern waters, South Korean officials said Thursday. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff confirmed the weapon had been launched Thursday morning, but didn't provide specific details. This was the sixth round of weapon launches from the North Koreans in less than 2 weeks, and it came just 2 days after a medium-range missile was fired over Japan. So, again, things are very, very hot in many ways. President of Poland announced he's in talks right now to potentially allow NATO to put nuclear weapons on Polish soil in an effort to deter Russia. This doesn't feel good. Absolutely not. Because that is something in the past that, again, Russia has said as many other things that have been broached would be one of their red lines. Do not cross this level. Do not do this. And then, of course, NATO does it.
That's pretty common. You know, they just do these things and they swat the hornet's nest and let's see what happens.
Yeah, they're swatting. And 4 Russian fighter jets violated Polish and Swedish airspace today. They were quickly chased away by NATO jets. So here you go. The tensions are ratcheting up. Meanwhile, a Russian A-26 avoided collision with 2 U.S. combat drones. This is in Syria. So an AN-26 military transport plane had to dodge 2 U.S. combat drones over northern Syria while performing a resupply mission. Again, the U.S. has troops in Syria, and they weren't invited. So it's just another hotspot that could go even hotter. Ukraine takes swaths of territory despite Russia's mobilization. In the 32nd week of the war, advances in the east and the south show Kiev is maintaining its counteroffensive momentum, while Moscow is pulling back forces from Crimea. And in actuality, this particular article says that they expect that things will slow down to a somewhat of a halt once the winter sets in. But they expect that Ukraine will actually try to take Crimea back in the spring. And, you know, this gets me again thinking of that one Nostradamus quatrain where it talks about 1 million men that were of Islamic persuasion heading into action through Turkey. And we'll see, we'll see what does happen. But right now, it looks like Ukraine and NATO, because obviously this is a proxy war, and maybe even not so much proxy as, there are so many foreign fighters in Ukraine of many different nationalities, and many of them are of NATO nationalities that are fighting. And of course, Ukraine has the checkbook to make out a check whenever they want to get more supplies, it appears. And so when we look at the blue here, these are areas that were under Russian control that now have recently been taken back in this counteroffensive. And so it really is appearing that Russia's in a full retreat. And this is why we've had so many people thinking, is it a possibility that they would use those low-yield N weapons? And meanwhile, the White House today says OPEC is aligning with Russia after production cut. And so the Biden administration is going to be tapping the reserves to keep the prices low while we go through the election cycle. Again, election, put an S in front of it, whichever way you want to look at it. But, November's coming quickly. And, once that passes, the gas prices are going to go through the roof again.
It's just a game that they play.
Health and Human Services buying $290 million worth of a drug for in emergency and radiation sickness. I'll be keeping an eye out for more information on that. Taiwan vows to respond to China's military flight incursions. Now, this was different. Some might say Taiwan is getting emboldened by the apparent Russian backtailing after their invasion of Ukraine. And perhaps, with all the military and monetary backing that the U.S. and NATO has given Taiwan, they're feeling a little bit more perky, so to speak, because this is different. Instead of just chasing away any flights coming in from China or the drones, now they're saying they might just shoot them down. So that's a very, very different position. And it hasn't happened yet, but just the verbiage is very different. And it's like somebody that all of a sudden is feeling a little bit cocky, per se. Delusional. U.S. sets free over 300,000 illegal migrants, expects tracking devices will actually work. Yeah, these are migrants that you're looking at here from Venezuela, and that's in El Paso. 316,700 migrants enrolled in the government's Alternatives to Detention program since September 24th. That number, by the way, is up 266% since 46 took office back in January 21. So they're being basically released with tracking devices. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing, I'm sure.
So I wanted to, and I haven't even shown Cindy this, wanted to show and share with you guys some interesting things, some curiosities. You might have seen this before. The gray alien face that you can get by looking at the dollar bill in a different way and overlaying it. Did you guys see this before? You probably did. 9/11, was it foretold in the $20 bill? When you fold it this certain way, you get the two towers that are on fire. Maybe it's imagination. And you also fold it a different way and you get the Pentagon on fire. Yeah, that's kind of curious, isn't it? And you fold it yet again and it says a certain name. Is it all foreshadowing? Is it just them letting you know, hey, this is all a script, guys. This is all a script. How about that? Some people say that what you're looking at here is perhaps the same thing when we look at the Vatican and we see those very, very serpentine eyes. Ah, yes, we know. It's a draconian institution. Completely draconian. And they have a picture of Christ, a sculpture that's just bizarre, as you can see it back here in this top corner as well. It's very, very dark and sinister looking. Well, how about this? What do you see here? Well, I see a bridge breaking. Obviously, it's got to be in New York. There's Statue of Liberty. Are these waves? These look like waves crashing and cars falling off the bridge into waves. Does it not? I see some faces down there. Interesting, is that not? Look at these. Here you have a little angel on one shoulder speaking into the ear, or maybe directly into the brain here. This is curious, is it not? Very, very curious imagery. That looks a little twisted. It looks like somebody's head's being stepped on. And meanwhile, all these little people are carrying big people on their backs. That sounds very much like, it reminds me of a lot of the stuff we see in Sumeria. With the humans tied and acting like slaves. Meanwhile, the Anunnaki are looking like the kings and the queens. And the Anunnaki are large like giants, like these big statues, with the little people holding them up and being trampled asunder. And that's supposed to be St. John, by the way. St. John, the book of Revelation is attributed to St. John. And again, the oldest copy that we have is about 300 to 400 AD, many, many years after the events that are told in the biblical stories of Yeshua, Jesus. It's curious, very, very curious to say the least. And is there really a New York apocalypse hidden in plain sight? I mean, look at this. These skulls, it's pretty twisted. The buildings all falling down. Bridges. This is that Statue of Liberty. This is on the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in Manhattan. Is it a foreshadowing? What's up? Who puts skulls and things like this on churches? But then again, the true history of the church is not what we think, not what most people think.
No, none of this is. It's just really disturbing.
Yeah, so is it a foreshadowing? Is this another way to avoid karma? Hey, it's all right there, guys. On the portal of paradise in the western facade of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in Manhattan are sculptures of the end of the modern New York City. Brooklyn Bridge is breaking in two, bus plummeting from it to the water while waves rise up over the toppling skyline. People run in panic below the stock exchange. Next to them, a scorpion, a snake, and other signs of pestilence swarm a skeleton. And this is supposed to be St. John actually looking at you, looking at him. Of course, the visions of the end of days are uncommon on cathedrals, as they were since the Middle Ages, created as some sort of visual rendition of the Bible, meant to be read you as you would read the scripture. But showing the city surrounding the cathedral being destroyed is unusual and unsettling, since the swaying skyline that also includes the World Trade Center, the sculptures have been, of course, attracting the attention of those CONS piracy theorists. So what do you guys make of this? Is this not at least very, very curious? Then again, waves, buildings falling down, bridges collapsing, cars, buses, trucks falling into water. And then we think about what we've heard about missing Russian sub with a weapon that could cause an end tsunami 1,600 feet tall. As Rama just seems to want to throw bones around. Sorry, guys. He picks the weirdest times to start doing the weirdest things. So anyway, new research points to health benefits of eating earlier in the day and within a 10-hour window. Absolutely. 2 studies suggest there are optimal times of day for eating and fasting. And when you think about this, just extend this 2 more hours and you have your 16-8 intermittent fasting. That is a very good positive step on your road to detoxing.
It is. I mean, here we go. We'll take it.
Yeah, so it's interesting how all this is coming out. And as I shared with you, I just finished a 48-hour fast. And it's something that should be undertaken if you're in decent enough health. And if you're not, again, consult your person of choice, let's just say, because we all know that there are those that have given some advice out there that are in very high positions of authority that now maybe we wouldn't have taken that advice if we understood better in retrospect. And many of us, of course, watching this video understood completely the whole time what to avoid. So anyway, DeSantis was giving us an update over here.
We're happy to be able to have done that. We also just executed a contract for emergency repairs to the Sanibel Causeway. So that's going to take a little bit longer. We anticipate it being done this month in October, and that will provide access back onto Sanibel. In the meantime, we have been airlifting support assets. We'll continue to do that.
Yeah, he's going to run again. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't think things are going to be too fresh.
Well, I think they'll just decide whether they want him to win or not. I know it's not from voting.
Oh, she just laid it right out there. As always, guys, thanks for your support on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. Check out Medicinal Foods. Use coupon code EEA. It does give you a discount. And it does support the channel. Stay prepared out there. Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.